Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, this Saturday the 17th, they will do the first formal live stream of the year for War of the Visions JP, and they will announce the details of the Final Fantasy VII Remake collaboration. I don't usually make predictions because I'm often wrong, and I don't enjoy making predictions like many other people do. But I think there's a lot of people interested in the Remake collaboration, both in global and JP versions. And then they also announced it quite ahead of time. With most of their other collaborations, it's just like, boom, here it is, coming out tomorrow, here's all the details. But this was like a couple weeks ahead of time, so we do have the opportunity to predict, so might as well take the chance here. And while I'm not good at making predictions, what I am good at is shooting down the predictions of other people. I guess another way you could think of it is that I'm not good at predicting what developers will do, but I'm good at predicting what developers will not do. So I thought for the latter half of this video, I would list off what other folks have predicted or demanded for War of the Visions in general, and think about how low of a chance they have of that happening. Okay, but first let's talk about Cloud here. The biggest question on people's minds coming into the live stream is going to be his cost. And then the way that I see it, the possibilities here are like this. Cloud at cost 80, I think has a 5% chance of happening. Cost 90, 70%. Cost 100, 24%. And cost 120 or higher is 1%. First of all, I don't anticipate him being cost 120 and introducing a new tier. That would be the developers killing their own game as far as I'm concerned. I might even quit at that. I would be a little surprised if they made him cost 80. Cloud is beloved, and fans wouldn't feel it's fair to make the character just cost 80. Cost 100 would make him the first limited time double price unit in JP, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. 24% chance of happening is not nothing. People would grumble, but they would end up paying for it. I don't think they would call for boycotts like they did Dwayne. If they did go for cost 100, it'll be interesting to see how much help the developers give in building him. But I put my money on cost 90. I think fans would be satisfied that he would be stronger than a cost 80 unit, and then also folks would be happy about the regular price shards. I think the memory of Mont, Helena, and Dwayne is still fresh in JP players' minds. Okay, next is Tifa's cost. This is my breakdown here. I'm almost certain that they will make her cost 80. There's not too much to say here. And I really wonder if they'll ever release another cost 70 unit. Next we can talk about Cloud's and Tifa's elements. A lot of people in both JP and Global care very deeply about this, but I don't. More than what feels accurate to the character, I'm more interested in the game balance. And that seems to be what the developers are focusing on, so that's good. I'm here for the gameplay, ultimately. But if Cloud were Wind, I would take it as a super obscure reference to Final Fantasy Tactics, so that would tickle me. And then let's think about the next two units in the second half of this collaboration. This might be surprising. For some reason, a lot of people are sure that there's only a third unit. But clearly, those people can't read Japanese. There are actually at least two more units this collaboration. The in-game announcement used the plural units, so that could mean 2 more, 3 more, we'll see. But in addition to Cloud and Tifa, here is who I see coming next. Aerith has a 85% chance, Barrett 60, Yuffie 30, Sephiroth 20, Red 13 4, and Kate Sith 1. For the promotional artwork to advertise this collaboration, they featured Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and Barrett. I think Aerith is nearly a lock, but Barrett is not as popular, so I don't know about him. And I really wonder if Barrett were a Hatcher unit, how many people would pull specifically for him. So if he were like an MR unit or like a mission reward unit, that wouldn't surprise me very much. Yuffie is a possibility because she has her side quest thing coming. Sephiroth I'm a little bit more iffy about because in mobile games they often split the releases of Cloud and Sephiroth because either one is a major draw. They can single-handedly put the company in the black for that month. But if the developers wanted to put the company into the super black this month, they could release both this time around. And also War of the Visions has resisted releasing playable villains, so yeah, that's another strike against him. And then Red 13 and Kate Sith are long shots, but they have better chance than like Sid or Vincent. It would be pretty hilarious if they released just Kate Sith. It would technically be characters, plural, but still prove me wrong, because it would only be one unit. And then one bonus prediction, Avalanche members. The Avalanche members would be so awesome. They were the best thing about the remake, in my opinion. They had great English voice performances, and then if you release them as like MR or lower rarity units, they would feel appropriate, like power level, and then also you could potentially release all three, and I hope they do that. In the debate between Tifa and Aerith, the answer is Jessie. And actually, if they release the Avalanche members instead of like Aerith or Barrett, I don't think people would be too upset. Just a gut feeling on my part, but I think it would be welcomed as a fun, potentially free surprise, and make people look forward to the second collaboration even more. And then Tifa here is a handout unit. I predict she's going to be the only handout unit of the entire collaboration. Taking her to 120 within the collaboration time will be intense enough. 2 handout units would be very demanding. But they might do a mission or reward unit where you can get all their shards for free, but you have to complete like a bingo board like Shoot'em, or do a limited time event series of quests, like complete all missions, get all shards and mind spheres like a selection quest, but without party limitations. And it would be cool to have like 3 series of like quests and missions, one for each of the Avalanche members. I would work super hard on that. Okay, for the latter part of the video, we'll talk about just like general predictions or demands that random players have made, and I'll give my thoughts on how likely those are to happen. First, the global schedule catches up to the JP schedule. 1% chance of happening. This is not going to happen. And really, why? Why catch up at all? For the enormous amount of work it would take to catch up, and for all the people the developers would piss off for skipping certain stuff, which they would almost certainly have to do, it wouldn't be worth it. And like, what would they even get, the developers, by catching up? They would give warm fuzzies to the global players feeling insecure about being quote-unquote behind JP. But what does that translate to? Does that translate to more sales, or better reviews, or more playtime? Probably not. The only way JP and global versions of mobile games can be really synced is if they are launched together on the same server, and it's essentially the same game, but with like different language options. The cow is already out of the barn in the case of War of the Visions here. And I feel a bunch of global players would prefer to be behind so that they could plan ahead. Global players love planning ahead, love counting their vision ore and hoarding. Global players need to get over being behind JP schedule-wise. You're not actually behind, and it doesn't make you inferior as players. Instead, you should feel superior because of all the special treatment you're getting compared to the JP version. Next is the Gambit system. I'll give this a 15% chance of happening. I like this idea and it would fit the game, but I don't see it happening for 2 reasons. One, it would be a gigantic programming task for basically no return. A Gambit system would not sell the game. And 2, it's kind of not needed. The game is plenty deep as it is. The JP players seem happy enough with abilities on-off, so I don't see Gambits happening. Which leads me to my next prediction, which is Gambits will cost money. This has a 0% chance of happening. If Gambits did happen, there's no chance that they would be sold for money. I don't want to completely dismiss any idea, but Gambits costing money is so dumb, I'll make an exception here. I have no idea how this gained traction, but for some reason, whenever Gambits come up, someone suggests this. I think what happened is that some moron equated the idea of the 2x speed thing being behind a paywall, and a bunch of people picked it up without really thinking about it. It's dumb because these are 2 different things. 2x speed is a quality of life improvement that ultimately doesn't affect very much in the game, while gambits are a game mechanic, potentially a very powerful one. As it stands now, everyone deals with the same AI, and that levels the playing field in auto battle PvP. But you add a way for paying players to get better AI, and boom, pay-to-play players have an enormous advantage in auto battle PvP. That would not be fair at all. It would be like giving units pulled with paid vision or extra skills or stats. No way. Next, random player prediction. The ability to change the element of units. 1% chance. This won't happen because it would destroy the game. I mean, you have this fun, varied, balanced, constantly churning metagame, and then you just want to throw it all away by changing the elements of units. It's always so amazing to me that folks with zero knowledge of game design just casually throw out insane ideas, and they have no idea how insane these ideas are. Okay, next prediction, auto farm multiplayer. I'm going to give this one a 0% as well. If the developers enabled this, why would anyone do anything else? There have to be positives and negatives to all game modes, and this would take away the main negative of multiplayer. Multiplayer is supposed to be good for new players with weak accounts and for free-to-play users without a lot of refresh potions. And solo is supposed to be good because it's less hassle, and you also get like affinity and stuff on the side. Also, I'm not a programmer, but I imagine it can't be easy to arrange for 4 different accounts to constantly be like, farming with each other, like for an hour or longer. I don't know. Okay, next. Chrono Trigger collaboration, 1% chance. Until someone dies, this is not going to happen. Every mobile game ever has tried and failed to get a Chrono Trigger collaboration, and I don't see how War of the Visions is any different. Next, limit breaks for units that are missing it. I'll give this one a 10% chance. This is a cost-cutting issue. Limit breaks take time and money to make, and for free units, I guess the cost is not justifiable from the company's point of view. Do you know how much it takes to create a 1-minute CG promo movie? It's like over $1 million. I enjoy the animations, but gameplay-wise, I don't miss the limit breaks, so I don't think they have a very good chance of coming to the game. Next is a PC client. I'll give this a 50% chance. I like the idea, and I think they should do it, and I feel like it will happen someday, but maybe not anytime soon, not within 2 years, I feel. Next, hard quests for limited units. I'll give this a 5% chance of happening. I doubt this will ever happen. They already offered a big compromise in enabling the barracks to give shards, and we should be grateful for that. Also, they will implement items to speed up barrack progress, so that makes me think it's even less likely hard quests are coming, but maybe in like 3 years or something. Next, a ceiling for all new Hatcher units. I'll be generous and give this a 20% chance. This comes and goes, it's not on every banner, but for the ceiling to be a guarantee on all banners from now until forever, it's probably not going to happen. And it's actually up to the players. As long as folks keep pulling beyond 200 pulls, Gumi and Square will just let it keep happening. If everybody pulled like me and set limits on themselves, then ceilings would become much more common. Next, Raid Revamp. I'll give this a 5% chance of happening. I've heard lots of ideas of like making levels 1 through 100 skippable or something, but I think they've already made so many compromises in other areas regarding raids that 1 to 100 is going to stay the same, I think. The raids overall are easier, even now in global, and very doable at level 100 without using orbs. Multiplayer is still clumsy, but again, different modes need to have different positives and negatives. And I've heard that the raid equipment should take less materials to craft, but that isn't going to happen because these are items designed to be crafted by the hardcore like 10% right away, and the casual 90% over the course of months. You're not really supposed to get these items right away. Next prediction, a new unit form that will obsolete everything that came before it. I will give this an 80% chance of happening. This is very likely to happen. The question is when. If it happens after 4 or 5 years, fine, that's par for the course. If it happens in under 3 years, I will be upset. But I put it at 80% chance and not 100 because there is a chance unit awakenings will stop with EX jobs. They might do EX subjobs, they might do like unit level 140 or 160 or something, but it might stop there. I know in Alchemist Code they did something beyond EX jobs, but that doesn't guarantee that it will happen in War of the Visions, and I believe it doesn't have to happen. There's plenty of potential for expansion breadth-wise with the different elements and jobs and attack types that I believe they could go on forever. In Monster Strike they did Transcendent forms, but that didn't obsolete everything before it, and then they did Transcendent Kai forms, but that also didn't obsolete everything before it. And the reason they could do it was because units had elements and null gimmicks, and so even if a super strong unit came out, it could only go to certain places and do well against certain enemies. And that is why changing elements is such a horrible idea. I see the potential in War of the Visions for power creep to be handled well. They could do it with like making quests more and more specific with what sort of units you could take into quests. I hope it plays out that way. And last is adding voice for collaboration units. I'll give this 20%. This is another cost-saving thing. It might happen in the future, but I wouldn't hold my breath for it. If they didn't have it from the start, it makes it hard to believe that it will ever come to the game. Alright, so those were some predictions. First, for Final Fantasy VII Remake, we'll get the details this Saturday. Latter part of the video for just general stuff I see around, most of which is not going to come true. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.